Okay, so we are moving on. We are in Unit 3. If you've got your book, we're on page 46, and we're going to be covering a new set of letters today. Now, last unit, we covered a set of letters that had the same exact shape, but the dots were different. So remember, we said ba was the boat, the dot was underneath. When the boat has 2 people, it's a ta, and when the boat has 3 people, it's the letter tha. So now in this lesson, we're going to do another sort of triplet of letters that have the same shape. And the only difference between them is where the dot is in this shape. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first letter that we are going to be doing is the letter Jeem. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's our notebook line. And the first letter is the letter Jeem. And this is what it looks like. So if you have your notebook line, go ahead and write Jeem several times. And the way that you have the Jeem, you can have the dot a little bit above the line so you can see it, is you have a triangle shape that goes above the line. There's sort of a little tail here and then a straight edge. And then we take this and we loop it. So it's almost like a backwards, upside down 2. Okay. And if you want, you can practice writing this at the top of page 47, where there's orange arrows that tell you how to write the letter. Okay. Now, the letter Jeem is a jug. Think of it like a jug. It makes the J sound, right? And what happens in a jug? A jug usually has some sort of drink inside of it. So where is the dot? It's inside the Jeem, in the jug. So the name of the letter is a Jeem, and the sound that it makes is the J sound. Okay, so let's look at a word that ends with the letter Jeem in its full form. You're going to write down the word Taj. 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 So that first letter that we start with is the letter ta. Remember that we write it in initial position. And then it's followed by an Alif ta, because it's the ah sound. We're not saying taj, but taj. There's the ah sound in there. And then we end it with the Jeem. Now the Jeem is the last letter here, and it's the only letter that's after this Alif. Remember, Alif does not connect. It's a ride or die. So the next letter, Jeem, has to be written in its full form, Taj. So you're going to write it like this. So practice writing the word Taj a few times. Taj is going to be a vocab word, and it means crown. So now let's go in and let's look at initial, medial, and final position of the Jeem. So here's a full form Jeem. Now, when you write the Jeem in its initial position, all that you're going to do is we're going to take the top half of the Jeem and we're going to write it initially like this. So it becomes this triangle shape. Now notice, where is the dot in relation to that triangle? It's underneath. So that dot will go right below. So you're going to write in your notebook Jeem in its initial position a few times. You can write it with a little bit of an edge like this. Sometimes people want to, be fancy, and, depending on how you want to handwrite it, you can do that. So you're going to practice writing the Jeem. Okay, so now let's take Jeem in its initial position, and let's write Jeem with the long vowels. Ja, Ju, Ji. Go ahead. Ja, Ju, Ji. So Jeem Alif, Ja. So remember that consonant form, that consonant and long vowel chart, that I had made for you guys in the last unit. You're going to continue that on, and you're going to continue it with the Jeem now. Okay. So if I was to write it out here for you guys again. So you had the Alif, you had the Waw, and you had the Ya. Right? And now we're looking at the Jeem. So Jeem Alif, Ja, Jeem Wow, Ju, Jeem Ya, Ji. Ja, Ju, Ji. If you need a transliteration, Ja, Ju, Ji. Okay. So let's try to write a word. Job. 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 Just erase some stuff here. Job. So we're going to write Jeem with an Alif because you hear the Ja sound. Alif doesn't connect. What's the last letter? Job. Ba ba ba. It's a ba. Job. Okay. Job. Job is a vocab word. Now, if you notice, our vocab words that we get from the book are located in red, like I mentioned in a previous video about the introduction to this class. So if you look at the middle of page 47, look at where it says, practice writing the word job in red. And then in parentheses, it has the meaning. What does it say? He brought. Job. He brought. So how would I say, he brought a crown? Job. Taj. There's your first sentence. He brought my door. Let's say I bought a new door for myself. Job. What's the word for door? Is bab. And what makes it mine? Adding an E to the end. Babi. Job babi. He brought my door. So this right here is the Jeem when it is in initial position. So now let's go ahead and look at it in medial position. Now in medial position, there's the computer written way. So if you were to see it on the computer, this is what it would look like. It would be a connecting line to the letter before. And then you would see that triangle shape connected to the Jeem like this. Okay. However, in handwritten form, there is a shorter hand way of writing it, which is more frequent when we write it by our hand. And the reason why is because we don't want to lift our pencil off of the sheet. So when we're writing words, instead of writing one letter at a time, we want to try to get all of those letters written in one pencil stroke or pen stroke, and then go back in and put all the dots. So if I was to do it like this, I would make a line and then I'd have to lift my pencil, right? And then I'd have to create that shape. So a way that you can do it without having to lift is if you have, let me put this in black one more time. If you have this notebook line, if the letter beforehand connects from a little bit above, and then it gives you space to write the Jeem right below or right on the line. Okay, so there's a letter that's connected here, and the letter afterwards is connected here. Okay. So this sort of triangle shape. So think of it as there's some sort of letter connected here, and there's some sort of letter connected there. And if you look at the top of page 48, it gives you some examples. So we're going to try to write the word tujib. Tujib. It means she answers. It's not going to be a vocab word, but it means she answers. Tujib. We start here with the ta. And what sound is the ta making? Tu. Tujib. Tu. It's making a dhamma sound. And then we have the Jeem. Tujib. E. What makes the E sound is the ya. And then we end with the ba. So let's try to put this together. If you were going to do it in the first way that I showed you, you'd have the ta here. Then you'd lift your pencil and you'd write the Jeem connected there. You'd draw your ya. Remember, ya medially looks like this. And then you'd have your final position ba. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with writing it that way. But the more, not only fancy, but the more functional way of writing it, and the way that you'll see most handwritten forms of it written, will be like this. Where because this line is a little bit above, what we're going to do is we're going to write the ta above the line just slightly. And we're going to put a dhamma. Then we're going to write here our jeem, sort of like it's cascading, it's underneath it. And then we're going to put our ya and our ba, tujib. So I want you in your notebook to practice writing that a few times. And you're going to try to practice writing the shape first, and then come back and write the dots. Okay? So when you think of medial position, if you're going to write it like this, the letter that is before the jeem has to be written a little bit above the line here. Okay? Now, in final position, we're going to draw a little bit of a wave so that we have space to write the jeem. We're going to take our connecting line here. We're going to bring it up like a wave. That gives us enough space to write the jeem in its full form. Just like that. Now, of course, in computer script, you will see it like this, but in handwritten, this is the way that you'll see it. Okay, we're going to spell out beige, like the color beige, but we're going to pronounce it beige. 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 So we have the ba sound, and then it's followed by the e sound. So we have ba plus the e sound, which is our ya, plus a jeem. So we're going to write ba initially, and ya immediately. Remember, ya connects. Now we're going to lift this up and give us space to write the jeem. So you're going to go ahead and write this a few times. Make that a little bit neater. Okay. Good. Okay, so let's look at the next letter. Jeem is a jug. It makes the j sound. And in some dialects, it is important to know that jeem is a harsh j sound in formal Arabic. In some dialects, it ends up making the j sound, where it's a little bit softer. In some dialects, like in Egypt, it makes the g sound, the g sound. Okay, so it can sound different depending on where in the Arab-speaking world you are, but in formal, it will always be pronounced j, like a harsh j sound. Okay. Now, the next letter that we're going to look at is exactly the same shape. Same exact shape, but it does not have any dots. And this is the letter ha. Ha. It is the letter ha. This is its name. And the sound that it makes is the H sound in the throat. So this is not like the English H sound. Okay. The sound of the ha, its point of articulation, what we call makhraj, is in the throat. You are going to be using the throat muscles and contracting them slightly to pronounce this. Okay. Think of it like this. When you make a raspy, breathy sound, when, for instance, you're cleaning up glass, like if you have your glasses and you're picking up your glasses and you're putting your breath on it to get some moisture on it so you can wipe it clean. That's the sound. Or if you breathe harsh on glass to make it fog up, that's the sound. Okay? So the sound is coming from your throat, but the way that you create that sound is by tightening the muscles that you have in your throat and constricting your air passage just slightly to block off some air. Now, if you do it too harshly, you're going to end up getting a ch sound. You don't want to do that. That's the next letter. Okay? So, if you need, drink some water and dry. If your throat is too dry, it might end up making the kh sound. So I just drank some water. Okay, so the ha. So its name is ha. The sound is and you're going to write down that it is in your throat. Okay, so if this is your oral cavity, okay, and these are your lips and your teeth here, and your tongue is inside, the is right here in your throat. Okay, ha, ha. And we learned in one of our videos, sabah al khair, sabah, good morning, sabah, sabah. That's where that sound comes from. So it is not the English H. There's a different letter that we have that's the English H. Okay, so one of the notes you want to put is this sound is created in the throat. The ha, I like to write or teach that it is hollow. Jeem is a jug, the dot is inside. Ha is hollow, meaning there's nothing. There's no dots. Okay, so no dots at all. So with that said, I want you to pause the video and you're going to write down initial, medial, and final. How do you know initial, medial, and final? Because it looks the same exact as the Jeem. The only difference is no dots. So we have initial, medial, and final. I can write that like this. Okay, initial, medial, and final. So let's write a couple of words. Habib, Habib, Habib. We're starting with the ha. Now, as we're writing, I want us to focus on these letters plus, we'll do a different color, plus the sound of the vowels. Habib. Am I saying ha or am I saying ha? Is it long or is it short? It's short. So which short vowel out of the three that we have, these are the three short vowels we did in the last video. Out of these three short vowels, which one represents the short ah sound? Good, the fatha. So if you were to transliterate this, you would say ha, bi, b. All right, or you could write it ha, bi, b, like this. So the sound of the H is the letter ha, and the sound of the A, that's your vowel, that's this fatha. Then you have the letter ba. It's in medial position because it's in the middle. What makes the long E sound? It's not habib, it's habib. The E, what makes that sound? Is the ya. So that's also medial position. And then we end it with our ba. Habib. Habib, you're going to write, means darling. And if you want to write my darling, what letter do we add to the end of a noun to make it mine? Good, we add a ya, so go ahead and connect the ya. In order for us to connect the ya, we have to open this ba up so it's in medial. And now that it's open, I can connect a ya below. And now it means my darling. Habibi. And Habibi is used all the time. Habibi. Habibi is not just used for a significant other or a loved one or a family member. It can be used with one's friends. It can be used as a term of endearment for one's cousins, for anyone on the street, for you go to the meat market and someone is, cutting your meat or selling whatever to you. Habibi. It's a cultural term that's used. Everyone is Habibi. You spread the love to everyone. Now this one thing to note here is this is the masculine form of the word. If you wanted to make it feminine, it's the same exact word plus one letter. So the feminine version, I'll take the same word, Habib, and in the feminine version, we add a ta in the middle of it. And we pronounce the ba here with a fatha. Ha, bi, ba, ti, habibati. So go ahead and write that a couple of times. Habibati. Okay. So here you have ha, b with the e sound, b, habi, ba with the fatha, ba, ta followed by a ya, ti, habibati. Okay. For anyone who needs to see it out a little bit more, ha, ba followed by a ya, b, ba with the fatha, ba, ta followed by a ya to make the T sound, T. Habibati. So this is also my darling, but this is feminine. Okay. Okay, let's also do the letter ha in initial position with alif, waw, and ya. Ha, hu, hi. So let's fill in this chart. Ha. You can pause and come back. Ha, hu. This is the hardest one to pronounce because you're pushing the air from your throat. You're creating a little bit of a constriction and then making the E sound by lowering your jaw. He, ha, hu, he. Okay. And of course, if you did any of these with just the harakat, that would just be ha, hu, hi. Same thing with Jeem, you would just have ja, ju, ji. Okay, let's do a couple of more words with the ha. Let's do hijab. We're on page 50 now in the middle of the page. Hijab. Hijab. Not he, but hi. It's short. Hijab. And if you look at the picture, there's a picture of a woman who's covered. Hijab is a veil or a head covering or a scarf. But in classical Arabic, its word means a barrier, something that creates a barrier. So hijab does that, right? Okay, so hijab. If you are going to write it like a computer script or you're struggling with the second, the handwritten form, what you could do is you could write the ha. It's with the kasra, hi. Ja, what makes the ah sound after this jeem? End it with a ba. That would be okay. Handwritten, however, this should go a little bit above so you can create that shape. So we would put the ha above the line just a bit. That gives us enough room to write the jeem. So you can put the kasra right here. Hijab. Like that. Hijab. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do one with the ha in the middle, in medial position. Taht. Taht. Ta-ha. Ta. Taht. So that's the sound. Taht. So what's different about this sound is, first of all, in English, you don't have it. B, the regular H sound in English, we usually don't have it in the middle of a word. We usually don't stop on it, right? But in Arabic, you can stop on it. Taht. So you're pushing that air out right in the middle of the word. So we're going to put here, we have a letter ta. We have a fatha. We have the ha. And we have another ta. It's not ta, but taht. So that's why it's a short vowel. So we're going to write it in the handwritten way. So if I'm going to write this in the handwritten way, we have a ha in medial position. So I'm going to put the ta above the line a little bit with the fatha. Then I'm going to come in and now I have room to write the ha. and then I can finish it off. So you're going to do it again a little bit neater. Oops, we haven't done that shape yet. So practice writing that. One thing I'll also note is sometimes people write like this, you might see, where this is the shape. Or you might see people write it like this. Those are just different handwritten forms. Okay, so if you write it like that or if you've seen that, that's okay. But right now, we are just focusing on these ones. Okay. Okay, let's do one more. To be on the bottom of page 50. To be. To be means to permit, but it's not going to be a vocab word. To be. We have a ta. Is it making a long or short sound? Are we saying to or to? To. So what short vowel of the ones that we've done? We only have 3 short vowels. Which one makes the u sound? Very good. Dhamma. To. Then we have the letter ba. Be. To be. What makes the e sound? How do you know it's a ya and not a kasra? Because if you had a kasra, it would make b. Short sound, b. But here we're saying bi. We're pronouncing that e sound. And then we have the ha. Okay. So we're going to write ta, initial position. Ba, medial position. Ya, medial position. Remember, ya connects. Ha, final position. We're going to bring it up and then draw the ha. Okay. That is the letter ha. So now we have done Jeem is a jug. Ha is hollow. So it's a jug. It's hollow. And they have a third sibling. So we're going to move on and do the third sibling. And that third sibling is the letter ch. Ch. Same shape, but the dot is on top. The letter ch. Okay. Which is similar to the German ch sound, like in Bach. Okay. Like the artist Bach. So ch. Ch. The back of your tongue is hitting the back of the roof of your mouth. And you're cutting off the airflow and releasing it. Ch. Ch. It's not going to sound sexy. It's like the sound of coughing up phlegm, if you will. Okay? Ch. 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 So the back of your tongue is closing off airflow in the back of your throat. Okay? So the name of the letter is ch. The sound that it makes is the ch sound. And this letter is also in your throat. And another thing to note about this is that it is the first letter we've done that's considered a heavy letter. Some letters in Arabic are light and some are heavy. All the letters we've done so far have been light letters. Heavy letters make deep sounds. Okay? And the way to track this is when you have a light letter or a heavy letter with an alif, they sound slightly different. Okay? So if I have the letter ba and it's followed by an alif, the sound that it's going to make is ba, ba. Your lips are extended to the left and the right as if you're smiling. Ba. But when you have a heavy letter followed by alif, it makes more of a ah sound. Kha. Kha. Your lips are not extended like you're smiling. Instead, your mouth is ballooning like it's filled with air. Kha. It's a much deeper sound. So think of it this way. Light letters create frontal sounds. So the sound of ba is in the front of your mouth. Whereas heavy letters create deep sounds. Kha. It's more in the back of your mouth. Ba versus kha. Ah. if you go to Unit 1 in Smart Sparrow, there is a drill that focuses just on this, and it's focusing on deep versus frontal Alif sounds. And that's the main place where you're going to hear a difference, and the sound is with the Alif. With everything else, you're really just going to naturally pronounce this letter in a heavy way because of the nature of the sound. Kh is just a heavier sound. Okay, so naturally you're going to pronounce it kh. Now, in certain dialects, like in Egyptian dialect, they pronounce it like a kha, whereas the kh sound, but that's the a with it. We're not going to pronounce it like that because, again, we're doing formal. Okay, so informal, it's a heavy sound, and it's going to be kh. So if I have kha fatha, kha, kha lamma, khu, and khi. Kha, khu, khi. You're pushing the back of your tongue against the back of your mouth, slightly on the top of the roof of your mouth, but near the back. Kha, khu, khi. And then you're moving the shape of your lips to create the a, u, and e sound. Okay? Okay, so go ahead and write initial, medial, and final position because you already know them. It looks exactly like the Jeem and the Ha. So you can pause and unpause. Dot is above. Dot is above. Dot is above. I had said that Jeem's a jug. Ha is hollow. Think of Kha as angry because it has to carry something. Ugh. It's so tired and annoyed that it has to carry this dot. Okay? Silly, but it'll help you remember what the dots are. So now I want you to go back to the consonant chart. You can write Kha, Khu, Khi. Where is our consonant chart? Here we go. Kha, Khu, Khi. Kha alif, Kha, Kha wow, Khu, Kha yeah, Khi. Kha, Khu, Khi. Let's practice some writing. Khab. Khab. Kha alif. Khab. Khab. Let's do another one. Bakht. Bakht. Ba-kha-ta. Ba-kha-ta. Bakht. What's happening on the ba? Is it long or short? Well, obviously it's short because we didn't write any long vowels after it. So which short vowel is making the short sound? Fatha. Very good. You have a ba and it's followed by the kha in medial position. So if we're going to write it handwritten, where is the ba going to go? We're going to write it above the line just a little bit with our fatha. Gives us space to write the kha and then our ta. Bakht. You can write it like that where the dot is below, just like that too. Bakht. Bakht means luck. So what would I add to this to make it my luck? Go ahead and write my luck. So we have the same letters, bakht, but we're opening this ta up so I can attach a letter. What is the letter we add for my? Very good. It's a ya. Bakhti. Bakhti. My luck. Let's do another one. Jakh. Jakh. And if I give you the meanings of words, I'm not going to give you everything, but if I give you a meaning of a word, then start in your notes. That's a vocab word. Jakh. Not ja, but jakh. It's short. 2 letters. It's just simply a jeem with a fatha and a kha. That's it. Jakh. Chic. Fancy. Jakh. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to look at drill 3 on page 52. And you're going to open it up in Smart Sparrow. Okay, so that you can listen to each word, and then you will describe, or you will decide which letter you hear. So in each one you have Jeem, Ha, and Kha. So for instance, I'll give you an example. If I say Rajul, Rajul, which one of these three is it? Ja. There's a Jeem in there, so the dot is in the middle, so you would circle that one. How about if I say Khokh, Khokh? Good, that one's a Kha. What if I say Wahid, Wahid, Wahid? Good, that one is a Ha. Okay. So you're going to do drill 3. And I also want you to practice drill 6. Now in drill 6, you're going to only find it here on page 53. Drill 6 is a reading drill. I want you to practice reading each one of those words, okay? And then you're going to open up drill 6 in Smart Sparrow and listen and see if you pronounce the word in the correct way. So you're going to check your answers by listening to the pronunciation in the audio on Smart Sparrow. Now I'm going to give you a couple of reading clues. I want you to look at number 1 in drill 6. I'm going to write it down here. Okay, here's the word. Here are some of the reading clues and tips and tricks that will help you. Number 1, you're going to focus first on the consonant. What is the consonant sound of the letter that you see? And then after that, you're going to look at the vowel sound. And the vowel sound, you're going to look at whether it's long or it's short. Okay? Now, each syllable that you have, a syllable is a part of the word, right? If I say horse, that's one syllable. But if I say, for instance, party, party, that's 2 syllables. If I say dependable, dependable, that's 4 syllables, right? So the parts of a word that you break down, each of those is a syllable. In Arabic, you can have 2 types of syllable. One is where you have a consonant followed by a vowel, okay? So really it's going in this direction where you have the consonant followed by the vowel, and that's the end of the syllable. That's one example. And the second type of syllable is when you have a consonant followed by a vowel ending on another consonant. Again, we're going from right to left. I'm writing them in English, but just visually to make it easier, you're going from right to left. So consonant vowel or consonant vowel consonant. That's really how you get one syllable in a word. So if we look at the word bab, for instance, one of the words that we've done before, it's only one syllable, right? Bab, one part of the word. You have here ba, there's your first letter, that's your consonant. It's elongated by a vowel, that's your vowel, followed by another consonant. Okay. If I just have, for instance, ja as one part of my word, then here you have Jeem is your consonant, and then Alif, here's a long vowel. There's your vowel. These are 2 examples. Okay. If I added to this word, if I said jabat, jabat. So now this right here is my first syllable, ja. And then in my second syllable, I've got ba here. That's my consonant. I've got this fatha, that's my vowel. And I'm ending it on another consonant sound. But. Ja, but. So any syllable that you look at is always going to be one of these two. Okay? And the vowel that we're looking here could be long or short. So now let's go back and let's look at number 1. You have a ta here, and it has a fatha. Then you have the letter ha. That's another consonant. So ta is a consonant, and it's got a fatha on top of it. So I'll put the vowel in a different color. And you have ha. It's followed by ta, which is another consonant, followed by alif, which is another vowel. So I just made the vowels red. If you have a situation like this, where you have a bunch of consonants next to each other, that means there's a break in the word. So what's going to happen here is you're going to say, okay, ta, here's our consonant. The fatha, there's our vowel, ta. And now I have 2 consonants. So that means that the first syllable ends on this consonant. So how would it sound if I took ta with fatha and I ended on the ha? Tah. We're ending there. Tah. Then I have another consonant followed by this vowel, ta, ending on the jeem. Taj. Tahtaj. And that's how I would pronounce this word. Tahtaj. So think of it as consonant vowel or consonant vowel consonant. Remember, your consonants are all the sounds that we've made that are sounds on their own. And the vowel is what elongates or has a short sound with that consonant. Okay, let's look at one more together, and then I'll let you guys practice that on your own. We'll look at number 5. So take a minute, and you're going to try to read it. Okay, so the first letter is the letter Jeem. There's a consonant. It's followed by a dhamma, ju. The second letter ba has a vowel on it. That means that is now the second syllable in the word. So now we have ju. Ba has a fatha here. Ba. And then the last ba, we're ending on it. Jubab. 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 Okay, JK, I do want to do 2 others I just want to compare before we hop off. I want you to compare number 3 and number 6. This is good because it has to do with our long and short vowels that we've been practicing. So you're going to go ahead and read 3 and 6 and try to see if you see the difference. Okay, in number 3, we have a fatha after the ha. So we have a ha in our throat. Short fatha ending on the jeem. Hajj. Hajj. In this one, in number 6, the ha is followed by a long vowel, the alif sound. So now it's long. Ha, and then we end on the j sound. Hajj. 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 Ah. So when you're reading these, think about and notice the difference between your long vowel sounds, oo, e, and your short vowel sounds, oo, e. Okay, so practice reading, remembering the sounds of the letters, the vowels, and now with the reading, the breaking up of the